We're diving into an awesome, highly structured lesson designed by CodeCare. This material is completely tailor-made for O-level math learners, especially if you're on the Cambridge or ZimSec tracks. Think of this explainer as your ultimate master key for your upcoming exams. We're going to lock down these basics so firmly, you'll be solving these problems on total autopilot.
So, let's kick things off with a practical question. How do you measure the height of a towering tree, or figure out the exact length of a really steep ramp without dragging out a massive tape measure? You literally can't always measure things physically. But if you know just a tiny bit of information, like one angle and one distance, trigonometry lets you calculate all the rest. It's essentially mathematical magic, and today, you're learning the spells.
Here is our playbook for today. We'll meet your right-angled triangle, unlock the SOHCAHTOA master key, solve for missing sides, find unknown angles, and finally, map out some common mistakes to avoid. Let's jump right in.
Part 1. Meet your right-angled triangle.
Everything kicks off right here. A right triangle is defined by having one exact 90-degree angle. Now check out the hypotenuse. The side directly across from that 90-degree right angle is always your hypotenuse. It is a mathematical guarantee that this is going to be the longest side of the triangle. Finding it is always your starting point.
Once you spot that hypotenuse, your next move is to survey the field. This is the absolute most important first step in every single trig question. You must mark your reference angle, which we usually call theta. Once you choose that angle, you label the side completely across from it as the opposite side. The side right next to your angle, the one that isn't the hypotenuse, is your adjacent side. Remember, opposite and adjacent can flip around depending on which angle you pick, so always mark that angle first.
Moving on to step 2. SOHCAHTOA, the master key.
SOHCAHTOA. Seriously, say it out loud with me. SOHCAHTOA. Remember this string of letters because it's the ultimate code you're going to need to memorize to solve any basic trigonometry problem. It might sound like nonsense right now, but it's an incredibly brilliant memory trick.
Here is how it breaks down into our 3 core ratios. SOH means sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. CAH means cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and TOA means tangent equals opposite over adjacent. To figure out which ratio to use, you just ask yourself, hey, which 2 sides does this question give me or ask me to find? If you've got the opposite and the hypotenuse, you use sine. It really is that straightforward.
All right, let's put this into practice in section 3, solving for missing sides.
Picture this real-world scenario. You've got an 8-meter-long ramp, acting as our hypotenuse, and it makes a 32-degree angle with the ground. Our job right here is to find the horizontal distance, marked as x. We stick to our mantra. First, identify the angle. It's 32 degrees. Second, label the sides. We want x, which is adjacent to the angle, and we know the hypotenuse is 8, adjacent and hypotenuse. If you look at SOHCAHTOA, A and H means we choose the CAH, the cosine ratio. So we write cos 32 degrees equals x over 8. To isolate x, just multiply 8 by cos 32, and your calculator says x is approximately 6.78 meters. Boom, code cracked. Let's try another one, this time dealing with an angle of elevation. We're standing on the ground 12 meters away from a tree. Looking up at a 48-degree angle to the top, we want to figure out just how tall this tree is. We'll call its height h. Same exact steps. Identify the angle, 48 degrees. Label your sides. H is opposite, and the 12 meters on the ground is the adjacent side. We've got opposite and adjacent. SOHCAHTOA tells us O and A means TOA, tangent. So the setup is tan 48 degrees equals h over 12. Punch 12 times tan 48 into your calculator, and we discover that tree is roughly 13.33 meters tall.
Now for a really fun twist in section 4, finding the unknown angle.
If you need to find an angle instead of a side, you have to shift into reverse gear. You can't just use the regular sin, cos, or tan buttons on your calculator. You actually have to use their inverse functions. This is absolutely crucial. When the unknown variable is the angle itself, look for the inverse button on your calculator. It usually has a little -1, like sine to the -1.
Let's see that in action. In this puzzle, we don't know the angle theta. But we are given the opposite side, which is 6 centimeters, and the adjacent side, which is 8 centimeters. Because we're working with the opposite and adjacent sides, SOHCAHTOA says we must choose tangent. So we write tan theta equals 6 over 8. That simplifies to 0.75. Here's where we shift into reverse. We execute the inverse tangent function.
tan inverse of 0.75, and the calculator reveals the hidden code. The angle is exactly 36.9 degrees.
Finally, let's map out Section 5. Common mistakes to avoid.
Watch out for these 4 booby traps. First, labeling your sides from the wrong angle. Always circle that reference angle first. Second, forgetting to use the inverse button when you're hunting for an angle. Third, and this one is a total exam killer, leaving your calculator in radians instead of degrees. Always look for the little DEG at the top of your screen. And fourth, rounding your numbers way too early in the problem. Keep your working decimals long and only round your final answer at the very end to protect your accuracy.
So let's burn this simple 4-step cadence into your cognitive muscle memory. Number 1, identify the angle. Number 2, label the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Number 3, choose your SOHCAHTOA ratio. And number 4, substitute your numbers and solve. If you follow this exact path every single time, you literally cannot get lost.
I'm leaving you with one final puzzle to test out your new toolkit. Let's say your angle is 40 degrees, your adjacent side is 7 centimeters, and you need to find the hypotenuse. Pause this explainer right now, grab your calculator, and see if you can execute the master method. Have you truly mastered the ultimate trig cipher? Can you crack the code to find the hypotenuse? Good luck, and keep practicing!
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was very useful to you. And once again, if you have any comment or question, just feel free to type it in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I wish you all the best.